Hey, Professor Bear here. Most people who use Claude Code are playing an instrument. They're prompting, they're iterating, they're getting results. Boondogglers conduct the orchestra. There is a difference, and it shows up not as a better prompt, but as a complete, working, production-grade site built in 3 hours, with every prompt landing correctly the first time. That is what this video is about. By the end of this video, you will understand why every Claude prompt you have ever written that sort of worked had the same structural failure, and you will have a name for the 5 things you have to do yourself before, during, and after any AI-assisted build. Those 5 things are the 5 supervisory capacities. They are the subject of the Conducting AI course in the Irreducibly Human series, and they were the exact capacities at work on March 30th, 2026, when Boondoggling.ai went from idea to live in roughly 3 hours. Claude solves faster than any human. That gap will not close. It will widen. Here is what will not change. Claude cannot verify whether its output is grounded in the specific domain reality at hand. It cannot reframe a poorly formulated problem. It cannot supply accountability when the build ships. It cannot hear the wrong note in its own output because it does not know what the right note sounds like in your domain. That is not a critique. It is a structural description of what statistical pattern matching is. Give Claude a vague prompt and it will produce a confident, plausible, wrong answer. Give it a complete specification, context inline, output format named, negative constraints stated, handoff condition explicit, and it will produce exactly what you needed. The gap is not in the model. The gap is in the absence of a conductor. This is the solve, verify asymmetry, and it is the argument the Conducting AI course is built on. AI optimizes for the common and the likely. It cannot verify whether its output applies to the specific situation in front of you. Verification remains irreducibly human, not because AI is limited, but because verification requires exactly the capacities AI cannot structurally supply. As AI capability scales, the human supervisory role does not diminish. It becomes more consequential. The human's job is not to type less. It is to decide more precisely what to build, in what order, and what counts as done. That is conducting. Boondoggling is the practice of learning how. A conductor does not play any instrument. They hold the whole performance in mind while each section plays its part. They hear the wrong note before the score confirms it. They decide which piece is worth performing. The 5 supervisory capacities are the conductor's tools. Plausibility auditing. Hear the wrong note before you recompute it. Claude produces fluent output that may be structurally unsound. Something passes every syntax check and is still wrong. Wrong in the specific domain reality way that only you can catch. Plausibility auditing is the judgment that happens before any verification check. Not fact-checking, not error detection. The moment you know, because of what you know about your domain, that the answer is wrong before you confirm it. Problem formulation. Rewrite the question so the answer becomes findable. Claude optimizes within the frame you give it. If the frame is wrong, the answer is confidently off target. Problem formulation is deciding what the mission is before Claude sees it, not reframing after, before. The quality of the output is determined here. Tool orchestration. Choose which tool runs, in what order, with what constraints. Claude executes a single turn. You sequence the pipeline across turns, tools, and contexts. Tool orchestration turns a collection of prompts into a build sequence, with every handoff condition named and every trust decision explicit. Interpretive judgment. Decide what the output means for this situation, this user, this deadline. Claude returns text. You supply the judgment that text alone cannot carry, the moral and cognitive legitimacy that makes a recommendation something you can sign your name to. Executive integration. Hold the whole build in your head. Claude sees one prompt at a time. You hold the architecture, the trade-offs, and the accountability across all of them. Executive integration is not sequencing the 4 prior capacities. It is holding all 4 simultaneously toward a unified goal, recognizing when one raises a concern that requires another to re-engage. None of these are things a better model will eventually do. They are structural features of what statistical pattern matching is. On March 30th, 2026, these 5 capacities were at work in a real build. A moderately complex website, 6 routes, a hybrid file system and database architecture, an admin dashboard, a community upload pipeline, a sandboxed iframe viewer, and a full prompt library. Not a toy project, a production site with real architecture decisions, real edge cases, and a real boondoggle score governing every step. 2 hours of conversation with Gru, 1 hour with Claude Code. Nearly all the time was spent in conversation, not coding, not debugging, not Googling. Talking, precisely in the right order, about what the site was, who it was for, what it would and would not do, and what each piece needed to be true before the next piece began. Gru is a system prompt that instantiates a senior software architect persona in a Claude project. It does one thing that standard prompting does not. It applies the boondoggling methodology to produce a boondoggle score, a sequenced, dependency-ordered plan that separates what Claude builds from what only you can build. Every Claude task in the score came with 4 things: the context Claude needed in its window, a complete copy-pastable prompt, an expected output specific enough to know whether you got it, and a handoff condition, the exact, testable statement of what must be true before the next step begins. Every human task came with a supervisory capacity label, not review the output, a specific action, a specific check, labeled by which of the 5 capacities it required. 20 steps, 9 Claude tasks, 11 human tasks. Then 1 hour with Claude Code. Every prompt ran without error. Boondoggling.ai was live. That is not magic. It is what happens when the conversation that produces the prompts is structured, when the conductor's work is done before the minions take the stage. The most important element in the boondoggle score is not the prompt. It is the handoff condition. A minion who does not know when to stop will stop at the wrong place, or not stop at all. The handoff condition is the conductor's downbeat. It is the specific, testable statement of what must be true about a Claude task's output before the next step begins. Not, it looks right. Not, I reviewed it. What must be true precisely for this step to be done. That precision is what makes the next prompt land, and the one after that. The platform is boondoggling.ai. You can try it for yourself now. Visit boondoggling.ai. Go to /tools. Copy the Gru system prompt, open Claude.ai, create a new project, paste Gru into project instructions, and type /help. No account on the site, no API key, no paywall. The Gru system prompt is the tool. You run it in your own environment. The /dev section has real Gru SDDs, complete real builds with real boondoggle scores. Browse them. The methodology is documented by the method used to build the platform that documents it. Conducting AI is part of the Irreducibly Human series, a series about what AI can and can't do at irreducibly.xyz. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Thanks for watching the Nick Bear Brown YouTube channel. Professor Bear, teaching the thing underneath the thing.